Good old Uber. This is going to be a company where it's considered the pinnacle of tech. When Uber moves online, everyone moves online. When people are starting to do this trend, Uber likes to follow along. Uber is one of those companies that is just so tech heavy. I mean, when you think of tech, the first things you think of is like the big five companies, right? You got your Apple, your Amazon, your Facebook, stuff like that, your Tesla. And then you also think about Uber. Like, this is very tech heavy. I mean, they're not just doing ride sharing, they're also investing in even vehicles, AI, stuff like that. Uber is what I would call one of the more trendy tech companies. Like, wherever they go, people do welcome their HQs because they do bring in a crap ton of money. And Uber is looking to sublease its fully furnished San Francisco office. Guys, they are unloading roughly 1/3 of their total space. It's an almost 300,000 square feet office that they're unloading. And San Francisco is becoming a dead town. Guys, if you look at the Airbnbs of San Francisco, it is so empty. It's actually pretty crazy. Okay, on Airbnb, there's actually more price cuts than regular prices. And some of these prices are so low, it really makes me wonder how bad the city really is, right? Now, Uber, these guys are moving out. Lyft is also considering, and there's so many other companies that you guys have never even heard before, like Salesforce, they're moving out, okay? Meta is also cutting back its offices. So many companies are cutting back hundreds of thousands of square feet of office, and nobody wants to come in and sublease it. Now, you probably have heard news about, AI companies are coming in and they're actually bringing like 2,000 workers. Yeah, they're bringing 2,000 workers and 20,000 workers leave that same month. I mean, nobody wants to stay in San Francisco, guys. Like, I've seen stories on Reddit where people are like, yeah, I can't walk through the streets of San Francisco and not step on poop, for the next few days. It's like common to step on feces in San Francisco. It's common to smell urine to work. I mean, come on. It's like a first world city, but like it also has huge elements of like third world elements in it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And the crazy part is the San Francisco mayor and everyone else governing this, they don't really care either. Like, they just let it rot at this point. And that's pretty scary. Now, I'm sure they want to do the best for San Francisco, but with what I'm seeing, it's getting worse, guys. This is literally Detroit 2.0. And check this out, guys. San Francisco loses nearly $500 million in revenue due to remote work. Now, here's the thing. I've seen several interviews of CEOs in San Francisco. I've even talked to a couple people I know in San Francisco doing engineering. They've already left, of course. And they all say the same thing. Like, the city is actually pretty lit. It's actually a pretty lit city. Okay, this city is by far one of the coolest and the best out there. Location is pretty fantastic. You got water north, east, and west. If you cross the Golden Gate Bridge to the north, you get like Wine Valley, whatever it is. You could drink and get drunk. It's pretty nice. Great weather, great environment, and there's wine everywhere. If you go south, you get Silicon Valley. You got like Apple, Google. You got Stanford down there. It's also fantastic schools. In San Francisco, there's UCSF. So the schools and also the environment, the recreational stuff, the mountains, the parks in San Francisco, there's a lot to offer. I mean, this is a really fantastic location. And I love San Francisco. I've been there pre-pandemic, although it was pretty gross. It was still pretty nice because it was only really restricted to like the Tenderloin district. But now the Tenderloin district is exploding out and there's just homeless people, drugs. You see people smoking crack and sheet up heroin near your like luxury condos dumpster. It's crazy to see this kind of stuff in a first world high-end tech city. And guess what? San Francisco is right now, they're panicking. They're trying to get a lot of these guys back, but nobody's going to come back if you don't address and fix the core issues, right? Everyone I've talked to, everyone I've seen, they like the place. They don't want to leave. And crazy as it sounds, most tech workers are willing to pay crazy high rents to live in San Francisco because you get that really cool environment, right? But now, with the city deteriorating and people are saying that like they actually have to buy planters and just big fat rocks, even farm stables, put them on the sidewalk in front of their apartment building, just so they won't just be like a huge encampment of just homeless people. San Francisco doesn't care. I mean, San Diego at least cares a little bit. They're seeing San Francisco as a cautionary tale at this point. So what San Diego did is it passed a bill banning homeless encampments in downtown. which is the right thing to do, right? That's how you protect the businesses and property values. And then the city could rake in cash by taxing those businesses and condos and then help the homeless people. I mean, that's what San Francisco should do. Clean up the streets, make it nice, squeaky clean, make it safe. Businesses will naturally move into the tech city again because it's not too late. And then they have this huge excess of money and then help the homeless people. That's what I'm saying, right? But San Francisco just doesn't care. I mean, they just keep putting little band-aids on it. They're doing like a vibrant to work type of thing. They're trying to give you like $50K to move to San Francisco and open like a small store on an empty storefront. I mean, they're desperate. $6 million in ads for vacation and tourism. Yeah, nobody's going to go here. And San Francisco, let me tell you guys how bad this is. Chinese tourists have a lot of money and they love to travel every single year. And if you look at so many of America's cities and a lot of cities around the world, there's always a lot of Chinese tourists. But San Francisco barely has any Chinese tourists. So I went on the Chinese, microblogging site Webull, and I translated some of the blogs and looked at what people say about San Francisco. And guess what most people said on the Chinese forums? They said San Francisco was basically Zombieland, and they'd never seen a third world country and a first world country merged together. That's what they said. It's actually pretty embarrassing for us to actually have such a fantastic tech capital turn into what they're calling like poop land. I mean, like I can't blame them. I've seen some Chinese vlogs of these guys going to San Francisco, and they have very negative opinions on it. I mean, they said they've never seen anything like this. I mean, not even in like Europe do you see this kind of stuff. And especially we're talking about the tech capital. This is where Apple, Google, and stuff like that are born. And it's just a complete, it's a complete joke at this point. I mean, you can't make this up. Okay, this is crazy. And the mere fact that San Francisco had everything going for them, now they don't. And I guarantee you, they wouldn't lose this much in remote work if the city was deemed like the cleanest city in the U.S. or if the city was deemed the safest city in the U.S. I guarantee you, the population and property values are skyrocket. Even Charles Schwab, guys, a brokerage firm, is cutting back downtown San Francisco office space. And I'm just naming the big boys, right? Uber, Salesforce, Charles Schwab. But there's a lot of companies with about 2 to 15 employees, these small startups that used to have like a 1,000 square feet office. They've moved out in droves. These guys are gone. They say the vacancy rates of San Francisco is like 31%. The offices, don't even trust that number. It's more than 31%. Guys, it is more like 50, 60% if you look at the actual foot traffic, because if it's actually 31%, bar owners wouldn't really be complaining. Bar owners say it was literally like 100 people that walk by every like 10 minutes. Now it's like 2 people. That's what a lot of bar owners are saying. And that's really shows you, there's a lot of space still leased out, but the actual tenants have already moved because they can't find another tenant to sublease. And when the lease ends, not a single company I know is renewing their lease. They're all leaving for other places, and they're done. I mean, look at this. San Francisco's Castro District merchants protest and frustration of unhoused encampment. Guys, okay, this is what kills businesses. Because number one, if you have a massive homeless encampment in front of like this merchant district area where they're selling stuff, one, customers don't go there. Two, there's probably going to be some sort of like commotion. There's going to be a lot of frustration. And obviously, I think it usually evolves to violence, right? And like I said before, if they call the police won't do anything. The police can't do anything. Now, I'm sure the police, they want to do something, but they can't because of the crazy weird laws and stuff in San Francisco. I mean, even the guy who owns a local UPS is like, he's kind of done with the city. Guys, I mean, we're not even talking about a restaurant or like a souvenir shop. We're talking about a very simple business, a UPS. And these guys are really, really tired of the situation. And these guys might be thinking about leaving. This is why in San Francisco, I keep hearing stories about, 120-year-old breweries closing down, 70-year-old iconic cafes closing down. I mean, this city is literally a ghost town. I could pull up some videos and show you the walking tours of San Francisco. It is so empty. I mean, the daytime, I remember back in 2019, I mean, downtown was packed. It was like basically shoulder to shoulder. And Chinatown was like a massive tourist destination. It was like the first Chinatown. And if you go to San Francisco now, if you check out the walking tours in the daytime, even like a Saturday or Friday night, Streets are empty. Okay, bars, clubs, they have some people, but it's so low. I mean, there's basically no workers here anymore. So many people are moving online. You probably still see a lot of billionaires, a lot of centimillionaires, and even some businesses are still in San Francisco. They're just registered in San Francisco, but themselves are actually moved out. So many rich people are registered in San Francisco, but they all operate somewhere else in the world. Okay, you see a lot of billionaires and multimillionaires in Portugal, but their address in San Francisco, but they operate in Portugal, right? Because they know that San Francisco is so dangerous. I mean, if you buy like a McLaren, it's broken in within like the first few days of you in San Francisco. So everyone's done, everyone is leaving. It's a shame. I really hope San Francisco recovers, but as of the time of this video, it doesn't look so great. It's getting worse and worse, and things are really deteriorating.